hear Andy Young's name and you hear these words. Now tell me what comes to mind. And for the sake of moving quickly, because we do have to stay on our timeline, make it bottom line, okay? Andy Young makes me proud. What comes to mind? You don't have to write it. You don't have to write it.
Accomplishment.
Okay.
He has accomplished a lot.
Okay. Andy Young, good for our community.
Optimistic.
Optimistic, okay. Andy Young forgets where he came from.
I agree with that.
You disagree?
with that.
You disagree, Dorothy, you agree? How about you, Juanita?
I agree.
You agree?
I
He
agree.
forgets where he came from?
I'm not sure that
You're not sure?
yeah, I'm not sure.
You're not sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Andy Young does too much for the rich and business and not enough for the people.
I agree.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree. That's my only disagreement with him.
I will agree.
And Helen, you agree with the statement that, okay. Dorothy, you don't,
I'm undecided.
you undecided about that?
Not sure.
Juanita, where do you stand on that?
I think that's part of his traveling the fence.
I
You know,
hear you.
one language.
I agree with that too.
Okay. Andy Young never did very much for the poor in Atlanta. True. It's true. You disagree with that, Dorothy? Okay.
Well, I'm sort of halfway with that. Is because not all black people in Atlanta did not do good. Those who were on the way and could have still did good. They did better. So I sort of halfway.
Sort of halfway.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy Young brought thousands of jobs to Atlanta.
Yeah, but who has them?
Right.
You know? I mean, you got a lot of people coming
You
in
agree
from
with
other
that?
counties
I agree with
that
that.
have the jobs, but
That's
the people in
part
the
of the
city
trade.
don't have it.
Andy Young surrounds himself with the wrong people.
I wouldn't say
I
that.
wouldn't say that either.
You wouldn't say that. Okay.
I would say the opposite, but
That he
feel
surrounds
like
himself
have
with the
been
right people.
With the right people, reason he's so popular.
Okay. Andy Young, effective.
I think so.
You think so?
He's
I hear
been
you shaking your head.
effective in trade
Uh-huh. Okay.
and bringing the business. He has been effective in that.
Okay.
I think he could use some work in it though.
Yeah, well, but
Okay.
he's still
All
done a lot
politicians
with it.
can, I mean,
Uh-huh. Andy Young has the most experience in running things.
No.
No? You're shaking your head, Ellen, no? Juanita, you're saying no? Andy Young has the most experience in running things. No?
I don't know, maybe variety, since he done, had at least 3 officers. I guess it's kind of who you talking to
Whether
but-
that's right or
uh-huh.
wrong. Yeah. Okay. Andy Young, a civil rights leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I see everyone shaking their head affirmative
Yes.
on that, okay? Andy Young cares about people like me. No, you say
You
no.
have to say yeah on that.
You'd have to say yes on that.
I say no.
You say no?
It's because even though I'm not
Andy?
suffering, I still consider myself with the poor. You know, if
Uh-huh.
paychecks stop coming in, you have nowhere to turn to, and being working doesn't mean that you're doing well. It
Okay.
only means that you're surviving, and I feel like in a city that's doing good, you shouldn't just survive, you should be doing well.
Jesse?
And I don't
I
think.
say no.
You say no?
And
that
the
one?
reason why I say
Thanks.
no is because while he was mayor, it looked like the southwest side of town lost business and a lot of other things.
They still are.
So,
Uh-huh.
you
And
know,
Juanita,
so-
you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Close.
I'm just moving along because we
Right,
got a
because
few
where
to
I was
cover.
living, it was fine looking when we bought our house 22 years ago. And the garbage man came twice a week, and the street folks cleaned, and they don't do
clean the street
anything.
anymore.
They don't do a thing.
Andy Young, good for Atlanta.
No.
No, not anymore.
Can we
You
describe
have to
what we
keep it
mean?
bottom line, you have to kind of keep it
And
bottom
can we
line.
mean Atlanta or the people? When we say Atlanta, we don't necessarily mean the people. You see,
Andy Young, good for Atlanta.
can we divide that?
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
For Atlanta, yes. For the people, no.
Okay,
The majority of the
all right.
people are in need.
All
The
right.
city is doing great. what things
I
he's done for
think
them.
I think he's good for the city in another position.
Okay. Andy Young never really supported Jesse Jackson the way he should have.
I agree,
You agree with that?
yeah.
Okay. You think that's right?
Yes, I agree.
Who doesn't agree?
You don't?
No, I'm suggesting that we erase it. Very smart. I was just kind of raising my hand to see whether I had done a raise of
Hey,
hands.
I don't agree with everything that Jesse Jackson says either.
Uh-huh. So, Andy Young, a leader who can move Georgia forward. What comes to mind when you hear that?
It didn't sound bad to me until you start picking into it.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound bad.
Andy Young can bring people together to get things done. What comes to mind?
He could do
He
that for the
has.
city. How you gonna do that for Georgia? Shit.
Okay.
I think,
But-
I think it's grown an awful lot though downtown. I mean, it's gone up the Peachtree Strip since he's been there. I mean, there has
You
been a
know.
lot, we talking about hotels and conventions and things of that nature. Over the past 10 years, it's
It's
grown.
Uh,
It really
Uh-huh.
has.
I'm gonna
So
show
too.
you guys some media now, okay? On the TV here. And someone's gonna come into the room here and set this up for me. I'm gonna give you these sheets here, okay? And I'm gonna see who's the person now. This is like magic. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and for, that's for Helen. Now, here's what I'm, that's right. Here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. You see these here, you see these charts here? They show a scale from a -3 to a +3, okay? And what I want you to do is to rate each of the spots that we showed you. I'm gonna show you 2 spots, and I want you to rate them from -3 to +3, where the -3 is, makes you feel the worst about the candidate. When you look at this spot, you say, it makes me feel the worst about this candidate. But as it gets more towards 0, 0 is absolutely a neutral feeling. You don't feel anything from this spot. But as you move towards +3, you begin to feel good about the candidate. Okay, so you see how the scale works? Minus the worst, +3 the plus. So now after you look at this, I really want you to rate it. I want you to look at it and then rate it. And now I'll show you 2 of them, and then we'll discuss them, all right?
Okay, the higher the number is, the better you like.
The better you like,
Okay.
the better you are made to feel
And-
by this spot, okay?
Okay, now on this now that
Yeah.
you're showing us 2, right?
We're showing you 2, but
And
there are
we'll do-
6, we're gonna show you some more.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
just gonna bunch them up into groups.
Oh,
But
okay.
we're gonna stop after we have these 2, okay?
Okay.
All right, would you put your names up in the right-hand corner so that I'll be able to track who
Whole
you
name
said?
or just Annie?
Just Andy, I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah, please not your last name.
Oh.
Just your first name. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Great show, huh?
And here's what I want to do as governor. I'm for a state lottery. Improving our schools is my top priority. I'm also for drug education to keep our kids off drugs, and sex education to warn children about the dangers of teenage pregnancy and AIDS. I'm a former Marine, and I want military boot camps for first-time drug offenders. I fought for open meetings and financial disclosure. As governor, I'll fight to make sure that Georgia government is always open for Georgia's people.
Okay.
Preparing for a world of lasers, computers, and fiber optics. We're not doing a very good job of assisting them. Georgia is 42nd in the support we give our schools, and 48.
Okay. And we'll go back and hear that. All right, what I wanna do is I want you to give your scores, ladies. Please give your score on that one.
Just circle it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Circle it, or, you know, however, just indicate what your score was. Okay? Tell me how many +3s were given for that one. 4 +3s, and Juanita?
+2.
A +2, okay. Someone tell me, what was your +3 for? How come you gave it a +3? How did it make you feel?
Because all of those things are some of the first things that you want for your children.
For your children, okay. All
And it
right.
seems like he's gonna clean up the city, the crime by creating something for the boot camps for the prisoners, first-time drug, and.
That's important.
That's very important.
Okay.
And open the government to the people.
Sure.
Which is,
The people can come in and hear the meetings.
I mean,
It's gonna be no
Whatever
closed door.
financial, you know,
Mhm.
discussion that they might have or decide, then it's made available to the voters.
okay, all right, okay.
I agree.
You agree, and you gave it a +3
Yeah,
as
I
well?
gave it a +3.
Okay, Juanita,
I gave it a 2, because I didn't feel, some of the things that he was talking about, although it just sounds like it might be just talking, I would give it a 3 after I'd seen it done.
seen it done, okay, all right, okay, let's hear that, let's go reverse it a little bit and then, yeah, stop it and then reverse it just a little bit so we can pick up that second one. You know where it is and things. Let's see where we can get the second one going here.
Muller, and here's what I want to do as
Let's hear a little bit
governor.
of this.
I'm for a state lottery. Improving our schools is my top priority. I'm also for drug education to keep our kids off drugs, and sex education to warn children about the dangers of teenage pregnancy and AIDS. I'm a former Marine, and I want military boot camps for first-time drug offenders. I fought for open meetings and financial disclosure. As governor, I'll fight to make sure that Georgia government is always open for Georgia's people.
Okay, now here comes the second. Get ready to do your.
Preparing for a world of lasers, computers, and fiber optics, but we're not doing a very good job of assisting them. Georgia is 42nd in the support we give our schools and 48th in SAT scores. As governor, I'll fight for a state lottery and put the money into education. Then our children will know 2 things. First, they'll know they have to study and study hard, but they'll also know that we care enough to give them the best schools we can, because that's the kind of people we are.
Zell Miller, Georgia is his cause.
Okay. All right. You've done your scoring? All right. The +3s. 4 of them. Somebody represent one of their +3s.
Having 3 small children in elementary school, that's a big issue.
Sure.
And I think with the state lottery, we can put more money into our schools, and I know other people coming from like New York, where there are state lotteries, have a negative view of them, but with proper management, possibly we can get the money channeled toward the education side.
Okay. One more representation of the +3s.
Well, like I said, that he seems to show more caring, like he did with the child. He took time to show what he was talking about.
Okay, do you find yourself wanting to vote for him? Yes? Jesse, you're laughing.
Should you even ask her?
I thought you were having an independent. All right. A staunch Zell supporter, okay. All right. What is your strongest recollection, impression of Zell after seeing these 2 spots? Give it to me in a kind of bottom line. What's the recollection that you
That
get?
he's really strong on education, improving education. I think that's something that he seems like is in every, ad that he has, or, anytime he's speaking, he's always talking about improving education, so it seems like he's really a go-getter for that.
Okay.
And he's
All right.
talking about the drug problems, and then also he's talking about the, sex education, which
Uh-huh.
is very important.
Was that in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
First one.
Uh-huh.
First one, yeah.
Uh-huh. Very good. And what has you wanting to vote for him when you see these?
Sincerity, commitment. He seems to be committed to what he's saying.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't just seem to be coming across to try and get a vote. He seems as if he really believes what he's saying, and it projects in to the person that sees the tape. At least to me it does.
Annie, I'm not hearing from
Just
you.
a
What-
country boy.
You're kind of quiet.
Player.
No, I like what he says. It's just that if I had a choice, I would not vote for either one of them for governor.
And you did say that, didn't you?
Yes,
Yes.
and that is why it was a nightmare to go vote the other week, and it's gonna be again for the same very reason.
I hear you. Okay.
I really don't have, I mean, in some ways, there are things that I like about both of them, but when I consider who I'd like to have governor, neither one of them is that man.
Okay, but now tell me in the recollection here, what is it about these spots that has you feel one way or another?
Well, everything that he says are things that I approve of, so I don't have any negative objection of him. It only means that it's sort of like a thin line. It sounds good, and he may be able to do some of these things, but some things that he's speaking of as lieutenant governor for 16 years, he should have been able to get some of these things already started. And then I don't know enough to know how far you can go by yourself. And so it leaves a daring mark in my head, you know what I
I hear
mean?
you.
To say, why all of a sudden can you do what you have not already started on? It does that to me,
I hear
even
you.
though I still hung, and it hurts me, because I'm the kind of person, I usually know deep down in, it's either this or that, and I'm still stuck with, I'm gonna be right to the poll before I can make up my mind, and I hates it.
Okay, all right, now, with the next three spots, we're gonna do the exact same thing, all right? And these are on Andy Young.
Or
Okay.
3 on Andy, or 2 up there.
Well, it's just the way, that's the way.
Subliminal line.
Is there, yeah, is it, let me put it this way, Dorothy, do you have some problem with that?
No,
I don't hear any music.
Is there some subliminal problem with that? Okay, here we go. Put me on the spot. Just happened that way. Thanks. Seems to be good.
Stand still.
Just like this campaign.
There we go.
Georgia, this year we have an opportunity to break with politics as usual. We can vote for progressive new leadership. Andy Young. Uniquely qualified, he'll work to make our schools #1, create good jobs across Georgia, and protect our families and our environment. An extraordinary leader who will work to keep government out of our private lives and protect our right to choose. Andy Young will work for a better life for every hard-working Georgia family.
The old politics as usual is failing our kids. 4 out of 10 will drop out. Test scores are declining. That's just not right. If we're going to deal with any of our problems, from crime and drugs to rural development, education is the key. As your governor, I'll cut the bureaucracy and paperwork and waste, put the money in our classrooms, and challenge our children to excel. If you're tired of politics as usual, I hope you'll join with us. Working together, we can improve education and build a better future for every Georgia family.
Andy Young, Governor. pro-education, pro-choice, pro-Georgia.
All right, your scores, please.
Third line.
Third line,
Sorry?
third line?
Third line, that's correct.
Okay.
You have to start where you left off, right? Did you do that? Can you give a separate line for this score, for this, put it on the third line? Okay, good. Plus threes? All right. Tell me how is it that you gave him a plus three?
I don't think the government should control a woman's body. And I also do think that in some ways, school is going down for children is because they are failing kindergartners, and I don't think kindergarten is supposed to be your beginning. And you should not make a child feel in the kindergarten that he's a failure. And it is happening here in Atlanta and Georgia. Very, very strongly, heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Kindergarten children are failing and being kept back in the kindergarten. And I'm highly against that. And if you object, then you have a fight with people who control the rules in the school. And they're sort of like going to the doctor. If you live, the doctor's good. If you die, it was your fault for dying anyhow. And that's the way that the school is handled. And when you object, you don't have anybody to object to. It's because they say, well, we stand together. It means that I'm gonna make you look good, because if you looking bad, you're making me look bad. And they're doing that in the both education.
And so from this spot, it made you feel
yes,
that he was gonna do something about it?
I believe what he said doing for the school to change the failing. I feel that needs to be improved, your beginning.
Okay.
If you're failing the kindergarten, failing children in the kindergarten, there's a failure.
Okay, I got it.
Your beginning is supposed to start, and then when you go to these people to talk about, say, well, how about those that's going to preschool? It's where you went to and who taught you, you know?
Okay, all right. Other scores? Thanks. Other scores?
A 2.
A 2? A plus 2? All right. Just tell me about it.
I just, looking from viewing the tape, it just seems like something he's walking through to me.
How, and you gave it a plus 2?
I just gave it a 2.
What was the plus, what was that?
Well, I mean, for education, if he
Mhm.
can do something with that, that's a plus.
Okay.
The drug problem in itself, that kind of remains to be seen. Also the education. I read an article a couple of weeks ago, there's this black professor or teacher in Washington, D.C., and he has come up with something. As a matter of fact, he started in Washington. Of course, he's having some kind of problems with it. But what they're doing is taking little black boys and putting them in a completely, totally different environment, separated from the girls, because they need it, you know, and to start at that age to bring them out, because it's a serious problem. It's a crisis.
I hear you shaking your head. Who else gave scores different from plus 3? Go ahead, Helen.
I gave him a 1.
You gave him 1? And what was that all about, Helen?
Education.
Education? It was because he was for education?
He's for education.
Okay. All right. Jesse?
I gave him a 1 also because, I think someone said a little earlier about his stand. It's not a definite stand.
It's not a what?
He's not definite, you
It's
know.
not definite,
You know, he seems like, you know, cut bureaucracy, and how can you cut
It's
that to
like
get
he's
money for
walking through
education?
it.
I mean, that won't happen. So, you know, we're gonna have to find some other means to channel money into education other than
I hear you.
red tape, bureaucracy. I mean,
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go on.
Maybe he just doesn't project to me the way he should. I mean, his ad, basically his ad is focusing on his prior accomplishments, uniquely qualified. Look at, exactly, look at what I've done. We don't wanna hear about that. We know, everybody, black, white, whatever color that can read or chew chewing gum knows about Andy Young. I mean, you don't have to get on there. It seems as if he's snubbing Zell Miller to say, look at me. I was in the White House. I was on the staff of a president for a while, and then I was mayor for 2 years.
You got all that from this?
That is
Yeah.
what he's projecting to me. That is, I mean, you don't have to get up and wave a flag and say, look at me, look at what I, just get up, present your issues.
Helen, you're saying arrogance, is that what you're saying? Okay.
That's the way he comes across on that
I
ad.
hear you.
mean,
Okay.
you know, all
All
the
right.
ticker tape parade is.
I hear it.
State attacks and-
And Juanita, I hear you shaking your head.
No, I'm just looking at the way that the video is put together in total, because Zell Miller, well, I mean, they show him, he's in the classroom and he's touching. See, those kinds of things, you have to look at that when you watch these
Okay.
kinds of programs, you know. He's touching and he's standing apart and he's just walking down the aisle and the kids are sitting there like they're reading.
Not learning anything.
Not learning anything.
I see, okay.
Is that what I saw?
Yeah, that's
Did you see
exactly.
that?
But
Yeah.
then showing Karen is, children.
Maybe he just doesn't
Well,
come
they're
across
children.
on camera the way, maybe Miller's better. Some people just don't perform well in front of a camera. Give him
Well,
the
they
benefit
make you
of the
see a lot
doubt.
of things with those videos.
But if he's so uniquely
Yeah.
qualified, then he
so-
should be at ease on it, in front of the
That's
TV
right.
camera.
I noticed,
Okay.
I understand what you're talking
But I'm
about, but I found that is the same thing you said. I saw that emptiness, but the emptiness gave me a different feeling about it, is we need to feel that emptiness. You see me? The failing means emptiness, doing nothing. And that is what the doing nothing that you're speaking about made me give him the plus, is we are now doing nothing, but we want to fulfill that emptiness. That, I saw exactly what you saw, but I saw something else in that. We want to fill that
Okay,
emptiness.
let me show you another one. Thanks, those are good comments, thanks. I can use all this.
You know, I'd like to help preserve the values of rural Georgia, particularly those family values. I know that as governor, I can build a strong economy. I know we can sell Georgia products, chickens, peanuts, soybeans abroad. And we can build an economy that will enable our children to grow up here and our grandchildren. And so I don't want politics as usual to hold us back. I want to build a strong economy for every hardworking Georgia family.
Andy Young, Governor, pro-Georgia.
Okay, your scores, please. Now on the next line, this would be number 4. All right, very quickly now, tell me what you gave him, +3s first. All right, +2s. Juanita?
I gave him a 2. I thought that looking at, my view from that is the Georgia farmer, the only thing that was missing in that was the black Georgia farmer,
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
because there are a lot of them,
uh-huh,
you see, but they are missing in that video.
uh-huh. And you gave him a 2
I gave him a 2.
because,
You should.
well, just a second, I'll let you.
I think he was going in the right direction, you know, because he's going after the produce, I mean, the farmers, you need
Mhm.
this is part of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I think that rate's a 2.
Thank you.
We gotta eat.
Thanks.
I
Helen?
gave it 1.
You gave him a 1?
Because not only black and white, all nationalities, and I think he should have had a mixture of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
all races,
Mhm.
because he's going to represent all races.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And I think he should have had all of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. More scores? Any other +2s? Any 1s?
Thanks.
1? Very quickly.
I think that farming is is all right, but it's just, it don't really, what he said didn't really say enough. The idea is good, That's the reason he got one. But, but no depth, you know, no specific anything. It didn't really say anything.
Okay, I want to show you another one.
They've underestimated rural Georgia. As your governor, I want to bring new jobs to every corner of the state. I want to double our exports and create a growing economy. I want to make sure that we have the resources to educate our children, to care for our senior citizens, and protect our environment. The other candidates want to divide up your tax money. I want to attract new investments. If you're tired of politics as usual, I hope you'll join with us. Working together, we can build a better future for every Georgia family.
Andy Young, Governor, pro Georgia.
Your scores, please.
I'm in the middle.
Okay, what'd you give him?
0.
Okay, all right. You gave him 1?
0.
0?
One.
1?
I gave him a 2.
You gave him a 2?
I gave him a 2 all the way down there.
Juanita, tell me about the 2.
Well, I thought that one was pretty positive. He had a mixture. He talked about all the little things that he was going, he kind of pulled it all together in that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like
That was
the
a
idea
plus.
about the elderly people because we need something for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right.
That's the only reason I gave him one.
Okay. Who else gave him
I
1?
thought he was a lot
gave him
more
1.
feeling in that one than any of the other 2. Then we looked, I mean, you know, his expression, the overall, I mean,
Yeah, but I like the idea.
yeah, I mean, even the idea, but his feelings in it, you need to see something, I mean, you know, it's some kind of expression.
Mm-hmm.
My answer
The ones.
is 1 is for the same reason. And the reason is for the first and second one,
Which is?
which is the fact that I like the idea,
I hear you.
but I don't feel that enter thing. Maybe I'm just too sensitive to a yes and no sort of thing. And I get crossed up with, because I don't object, but yet still I don't completely approve of, because it don't say anything exactly to me, but the idea is fine with me.
The idea being?
Of trying to, it seems like he circled a dap of everybody, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, thanks. People who gave him a 0, what had you go to neutral?
Go ahead.
Okay. He's sticking on this rural thing. Everything is rural Georgia. You know, and then I'm almost like her as far as the mixture is concerned. There's not enough mixture as far as people are concerned on these ads. You know, and
That's
being that I
negative,
work
yeah.
in a rural area, I know the feelings in rural Georgia, and they're not Andy Young.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I gave him a middle of the road thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, because that's not going to
What are the feelings that you're talking about?
They're just not ready for Andy Young as a governor of Georgia.
Uh-huh.
You know, and he's going to have to face that. So I know he's going to try to get the votes and stuff like that, but it's not there.
I hear you. Okay. Dorothy?
I just have to keep going back to projection. His sincerity is not, and his ads to me just don't come across as being sincere. Politicians have made all sort of statements and commitments and prior to election time, and then once they get into office, they don't produce. They don't come across.
He's not a politician.
Let me show you
That's
one.
appearance.
Let me show you one more,
That's
okay?
appearance.
I got what you're saying,
Yeah.
Margaret, yeah. Let me show you one more. In the interest of
He's a
time.
preacher. Yeah, he is a preacher.
In the interest of time, I'm gonna keep moving.
It's time for honesty. On the lottery, both candidates agree. Andy Young strongly supports our right to vote on a lottery. The real issue is leadership. Leadership that will fight effectively for the hardworking families of Georgia. Andy Young is that leader. He's devoted his life to serving people and his country A civil rights leader, he built consensus from conflict, a proven ability to get things done. Andy Young is the one candidate who can bring good jobs to every corner of Georgia and help bring the Olympics. Andy Young, governor, leadership to move Georgia ahead.
Okay, please, scores for that one. And you have the radio one coming up. Okay, great. Okay, tell me about, you finished? Okay. Plus threes. 1. What was that? Tell me what it was. 2 plus 3s.
No.
You know better than that.
Okay. I was in hope. How's that? Dorothy, you're a plus 3. Sorry, Helen, I didn't mean to have you think that.
Helen gives him a plus 3.
Yeah.
He's going in. He'll go right away.
Sorry for the mistake, Helen. Dorothy, yes, you're plus 3.
The ad projects in a positive light. The issues, all the issues that were talked about in that particular ad are some of the things I'd like to see addressed by the next governor. And I guess because he's not talking, when he speaks, he just doesn't carry. He just doesn't carry with me. But that in that ad, he didn't say anything.
So because he didn't talk, you didn't give him a, I got it. Okay.
I can identify with.
You can identify with the issue, is that it? Okay. Other scores? 1.
I gave him a 1.
You gave him a 1.
I gave him a 2.
You gave him a 2. Let's hear the 2. I'm going back. I go backwards. Let's hear the 2 before we hear the 1.
I thought that ad was pretty positive, and like she said, he didn't speak. Somebody else spoke for him. So that was kind of like a plus. And I think that's probably what he suffers from more than anything else, is that his overall.
He can't stop tooting his own horn. I just don't like that.
No, he has a bland expression.
Monotone.
It's monotone. It really is. So, even though he
attention.
could be very sincere, the blandness takes over.
Okay. I see everybody shaking their heads, so it sounds like and so those people who gave him 1s, you gave him a 1? And all right, Helen, what did you give him the 1 for?
I know some people are real bland and always crazy.
He's too much self.
You know, he's standing in, he's always straight up. He never, if maybe he was just and so, something like this. No, come down with us. Touch somebody and talk and stuff. He's that way all the time. Kind of
Stand
be
off.
soft, be more caring. Like I say, he's more caring.
I gave him a 1, which is the highest score he's gotten. And it might be, just come to think of it, it might be because of some of the answers that we have here, is that he didn't get a chance to talk, somebody else was talking for him. And, sometimes the projection can get your attention to listen to, what's going on. So maybe that's why he got a 1.
I'm going to give you one more sheet because I got a radio spot I want you to hear, but before that.
We have several.
You have several sheets? Okay, give those
Already
back.
gone.
Yeah, you got enough.
Okay.
I got 5 now.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you're going to have to use another page to do the next one. But you've seen all of these spots. What's your strongest recollection of Andy Young?
From these spots, or just him?
From, what's your impression of him?
I want to be governor. I want to be governor.
I agree with that.
And that's it, that's my whole thing tonight. I just want to be governor.
How many of you find yourself wanting to vote for him after seeing these?
I might would vote for him based on.
What you see? Okay. Those of you who find yourself not saying you want to vote for him, what's holding you back?
He's not caring enough.
He's not caring enough.
He
Okay.
doesn't show interest for the poor.
Doesn't show interest for the poor.
For the homeless.
For the homeless.
You haven't seen him not one time on his ads with the homeless people.
Uh-huh.
Well, as I concerned, I haven't seen neither one of
Not
them.
in Miller.
And they
I
have,
was-
neither one of them have spoken
they
about
sure
it.
haven't.
And that's the reason I said that neither one of them fit in with me. And it hurts
Is
me.
that what's missing?
Yes, from
Is that
both.
what's missing from both of them? Is
Yes,
that what's
from both
missing
of
from-
them. Neither one of them have mentioned it, and I've read everything too, and I watched them on television. Neither one of them have mentioned the homeless that's flying around in Atlanta and Georgia.
But you notice how Young always says he's going to provide jobs for all the hard-working Georgians? He never says anything like you say about the poor.
Right.
I mean, and the unemployed, there are people who would love to have a job, but they're not jobs there for them to have. And he's saying, well, if you're out there helping yourself, then I'm going to help you. If you're just one of those people on the street that I pass every morning, laying on the sidewalk or living in a little
Who's this?
cardboard. That's what he's Young in his ads. He says, "I'll
He said
provide a job for
hard
all the hard-working Georgians."
Georgians.
What about the people who, like she says, who can't get a job?
Uh-huh.
He's not saying.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's what's missing.
Yeah, that's missing.
What else is missing?
Miller's missing that also.
What else is
but
missing?
that's
The Miller's
all
missing it
we're-
too.
And
What
both
else?
of them are missing.
Well, what else is missing from Andy? From
And
Andy
here's
Young's
something
ads?
else that's missing too. The improvement of wages for those who are already hardworking. You know what I mean? You can work forever and never have money. And I object to the fact that we have plenty people who can't stand the fact that Marta has gone up another 15 cents. And the fact that they go almost out of town, an hour and a half, and you got to go from 2 buses and a train to get to almost nowhere for no money.
I hear you. Okay.
And
So
neither
you're
one
thinking-
of them.
You're saying that these kinds of things need to be addressed.
Yes.
Okay, good. All
I
right.
really don't think you can save a soul until you feed him. And it gets to the place where feeding is no good unless it's something good.
Okay.
Hey, television will run everybody.
Okay. Other things that need to be put in. Is that it? Have we captured it?
I think he needs to, like I said, I think he needs to direct his attention more to the people of Georgia, not to a certain group of people.
Okay.
Right.
The people of Georgia.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
All right. So now, ladies, yes?
I want to just ask a question. I just throw it out to the group. But don't you feel that if he comes across more toward Afro-Americans or black people, then the white voters are going to sway away? Because we all know that white people tend to be afraid of unity among blacks. Therefore, if Young comes out and puts more of his campaign toward the black voters, then a lot of the liberal white people that did vote for Young are going to say, well, I don't know, he's kind of pro-black, maybe I shouldn't vote for him.
Are you going to excuse him for that?
I'm saying, shouldn't the black population of Georgia, shouldn't they at least think about that, you know?
But I don't think
If
we should
come out
assume
too
that.
much-
I don't think we should assume that. It's because when you really look at it, we have some white people living in bad shape here in Atlanta and Georgia. And if they take it as individual thing, that means whoever have shown, both of them have been in office long enough to have shown more than they've shown to the real people. Now, yes, when it comes to what Georgia has more of, but who is it for? That is my differences with both of them. Neither one of them have dug down into the deep part of the ordinary people. Neither one of them
Well,
have
you know
done
what, one of the
that.
All
things
right.
that you
All right.
might want to think about, that Georgia basically is not a welfare state. And in order for them to do anything about that, they would have to address the welfare system of the state.
Okay. All right. Here we go. It is now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're back to that again. You've seen the spots, you've seen them, and you had your vote right now. For whom would you vote? Would you vote for Miller or Young? Now write down your vote, but don't talk about it.
I can't write
Wait a
my
minute,
vote.
wait a
I'm
minute.
scared of the nightmare.
I'm sorry?
I don't want either one of them.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
I'm
Wait a
scared
minute.
of having a nightmare.
Wait a
Write
minute.
it down.
Right?
Right
You
now.
now have to vote. You're
Okay.
in the booth and you have to vote. Go along with me on this, Annie. You have to vote. You have to vote. You're in the booth. You gotta go one way or the other.
But this is, the thing about
But
us about.
there are some
Annie,
things
I
about
know
both of them.
that. I know that. But I'm saying, you only get one vote and you gotta go one way or the other. So what's it gonna be?
Where do you want us to write it?
Write it on your slip of paper there.
On the pad?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take something into consideration, okay?
I'm still fighting it.
That, the campaign is gonna change.
And I'm still
That's the
listening
only
for something
reason
good.
why.
And that's the reason that I can
And
say
if it
anything.
doesn't change, then this vote will be different.
I'm
You want
still
our
waiting for
names?
change and I'm still listening. And
You want our names on it?
You want it now?
No, it's fine. I just wanna know which way you're going.
Oh,
I can't even dare tell you that, because I'm still fighting.
Okay, good. All right. I'm gonna
She'll
skip
stay
that.
at
I'm gonna
home
skip
that
that
day.
for a few minutes.
No, I'm not scared of them, I'm definitely not.
no vote for nobody.
No, I might just see what the other man is saying too. I don't have any objections to him either. You know what I mean? I'm basically a Democrat, but if it means changing over, I would do that too, if I felt it would do some good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I want to go to. We're going to show a spot here, and I want you to listen to this. It's a radio spot.
This is Andy Young. For over 30 years, it's been my privilege to serve the people of Georgia as a pastor in the civil rights movement, as a congressman, ambassador, and mayor. I care deeply about you, and that's the reason I'm running for governor. Let's be honest on the lottery. My opponent and I agree. I strongly support your right to vote on a lottery. That's not the issue in this campaign. The real issue is leadership. Leadership that will fight for the families of Georgia, and I believe I have offered that kind of leadership. I'll work hard to improve education and protect our children from crime and drugs. I'll work to build the prisons we need to keep criminals behind bars and teach them job skills so that they won't return to crime. I want to keep Georgia safe and moving forward. This is Andy Young. People have struggled and given their lives so that we can vote. That's why I want to urge you to be sure to vote on August the 7th. Together we can bring a new day to Georgia, provide justice and opportunity for all. And that's why Young Working for Georgia paid for this message.
All right. Tell me, what's different about, first off, rated on one of the sheets there? Page 2, put your name up in the right-hand corner. And then give me a rating.
And I want you ladies on my quick.
Go. Okay. What was your score? 1, 2.
I gave him a 3.
You gave him a 3. What was it? What was the 3?
It sound positive. It sound alive.
What about the
It
issues?
sounded the issues. He addressed everything that he went. As a matter of fact, this time he said what he was going to do.
Okay.
Okay.
You gave him a 2. All right. How come?
Basically the same thing, but again, his cockiness, ambassador, mayor, this, I've done this.
That's hard. It's really hard for him not to do that because he has been in that position for how long?
8 years.
And he had, yeah. That's
But
been a long. That's
ambassador to
been a
the
long
UN, that was back in the
They know
70s.
that.
I know, but
good
that's still
grief, give me a
part-
break. How
that's
long
still
you gonna
part of
ride
it.
on that?
It's still part of the job, though. Isn't it?
You
Being
shouldn't
an
mention
ambassador.
that, that's because you staying that long enough.
No,
They put it
well,
out.
All right. Okay.
But
What was different about
issues
that?
were
What was
good.
different about that advertisement? You
Like
say-
he said, he was a little bit more clear as to how he stood on
Uh-huh.
different things.
Uh-huh. Did you like this one better than the ones before?
Yeah, I did. And another thing, that was the radio. You didn't see him.
Uh-huh.
So you didn't see the blandness, and his voice had more body.
More
to
funny,
it.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Television ad.
No.
Stay away from TV.
No, he's very preacher.
I want to read you. I want to
No,
read
he's not
some.
Baptist. He's,
Methodist.
I want to read you
He's not
some
Methodist. I
messages
forget
here.
what-
Congregation.
I'm sorry.
Congregational.
I want to read you some messages here for a second that are designed to say something about it. You have to listen, if you will, very carefully, and I'm going to read them for the interest of time. I'm going to be going rather quickly. Okay, so you can get a chance to see these. All right. Are you ready? Zell Miller is known as Zigzag Zell, and for a good reason.
I've heard that.
You ready to leave?
I've heard that.
You heard that. You're going to go to the
Ladies.
Oh, okay, good. You'll be back. Okay. He's opposed mutual betting and the lottery and now favors them. He was a Maddox man, a strong conservative, and then supported George McGovern and moved over and became a liberal. He voted for taxes, then pledged to oppose them. He worked together with Tom Murphy and now attacks him. Miller is a politician who takes positions not for the people's best interest, but his own. You ready? Andy Young, as a mayor, hired 200 new police officers. I'm sorry. I don't want to read you. I want to read your note. Zell Miller, as lieutenant governor, has helped create a revolving door prison system where hardened criminals get sent back to the streets. The public should know there are really two different Zell Millers on crime. Zell Miller, the probation's advocate, and Zell Miller, the jailing politician now running for governor. When Zell served on the probation boards in the 1960s and 70s, he boasted releasing almost half the prisoners on parole and wanted to release more. Today in Georgia, violent criminals, including murderers, spend only 3.5 years behind bars. So when you hear Zell Miller talk about boot camps and being tough on crime, ask him which Zell is talking. I'll read you a third one. Zell Miller now says he cares about everyone in Georgia, but his record shows where he actually stands. In 1964, he opposed the Civil Rights Act, saying that the money to implement the bill should be used instead to investigate communist infiltration in the civil rights movement. He slammed the war on poverty as wasteful, and from 1968 to 1971, he was a top aide to segregationist Governor Lester Maddox. As lieutenant governor, he has appointed only 2 black committee chairmen in 16 years, and has only 1 black person on his staff, and that in the lowest paid position. Who then does Zell Miller really care about? Now, I have a question for you. Having heard these statements, do you find yourself wanting to vote against Zell Miller?
I find myself wanting to vote for Andy Young, not against Zell Miller.
Having heard these statements, do you find yourself wanting to vote against Zell Miller? Helen, no. Annie, no.
Not
What do you
really.
do? Not really?
No.
Okay. What's in these statements made the biggest impression on you?
None of it, because it's basically true. He has been zigzag. He did like the rest of them do. When things were bad and not acceptable, he was a part of it. I voted for Lester Maddox later years as he tried to make a change, and I voted against him. So it is true. So I have no objection to nothing I heard. It is definitely true.
And
And I would not, if I did not vote for him, it wouldn't be against him. It only means that I saw maybe one drop or something else that convinced me to go over.
I found a problem with the Civil Rights Act, 64. I didn't know he opposed that. I have a problem with that.
You have a problem with that?
I have a problem with his not having very many blacks on his staff.
Staff. Okay. Anything else? Anything else impressed you about that? I hear silence. That's it. Silence is very loud. Listen, we have spent a lot of time together here tonight. I feel like I've made 5 intimate friends. I have questioned you, I have badgered you, I have beat you up, I have really put you to the task here. And so I think the thing I need to do is I need to thank you. And I need to thank you sincerely for your opinions, for being candid with me, for being honest, for being forthright. Thanks for that. This is really going to support in this work what we're doing here. So,
I hope so.
And I know who I'm gonna vote for.
and you know who you're going to vote for. So thanks. Would you put a paper clip on your slip sheets and pass them up to me so that I can keep them straight? Just really, I appreciate you coming up tonight and working with me here.
Do you want our,
Yes, I want the vote. Yes, definitely want the vote. I want your vote too, Annie.
100%. Really? That's right.
Okay,
Hey,
listen, that's your right.
that's true.
That's your right. Yeah. And 1 abstention. 4 votes and 1 abstention. Thanks. And all your worksheets. Did you give me your worksheets too?
do you need this?
Yeah, I need the worksheets that you had.
Okay, let me put mine's back there.
Okay, is that yours?
Oh, I missed one.
No, we need
Oh,
a.
I need to.
Oh,
Stick this other one on too, and I
Annie?
missed one.
Annie, okay, put that on Annie's for me, would you?
This is mine right here.
You
Okay,
think I'm
this is
kidding,
yours.
but this has been very hard on me.
Jesse, where's your, okay, here's Jesse.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I've you know,
Where's yours?
I felt dragged out to go vote. And there are people who will not go vote because of that feeling. But there is something in me that tells me, go ahead. That's the only reason, but I feel very dragged out. So unsatisfied.
I'm glad when it's over.
Over with.
And so do I too.
So, this was nice.
Yes, I am too.
I need mine's back.
Because
I'm
I don't
sorry.
see
I
anything
need mine's
that I
back.
can
your
put my
back,
finger
too.
on that's definite.
Yeah. You kind of know that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it.
No, no. I already feel what you're feeling.
All right. Okay, we've come to the end of our time. Thank you. And there will be somebody outside to, give you your other part of your thanks.
You know what? I wish we could go somewhere to change things. I'd like to have these ladies with me. You know, really.
Yes, thanks again. Really appreciate you coming.
Wants to take these names tags out.
Would you? Yes.
Oh, you don't want to remember us, huh?
That's not true. There is no way in God's name that I will forget you. Ever. There will be no forgetting you.